Hi, this is Jim from Safety Wars. Before we start the program, I want to make sure everyone understands that we often talk about OSHA and EPA citations, along with some other regulatory actions from other agencies, legal cases, and criminal activity. Everyone is innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. Proposed fines are exactly that, and they are often litigated, reduced, or vacated. We use available public records, news accounts, and press releases. We cannot warranty or guarantee the details of any of the stories we share, since we are not directly involved with these stories, at least not most of the time. Enjoy the show.
This show is brought to you by Safety FM.
How's everybody doing out there tonight? This is Safety Wars. We're hopefully going to get in 3 programs this week. We'll see how it goes. We have stuff going on all the time. People call, Jim, I need a training class. I need this, I need that. You know, you too could have a training class finally online in the evenings. 845-269-5772 or Jim at safetywars.com. Yeah, that's what's going on. So, last night, no, Mondays are a little bit rough for me. So, last night, what I did was, took a nap, got up around 11:30 at night, and relaxed. Doing the things over here on my soundboard, trying to get new things going, better organized. Like I keep on trying to get a lot of excitement. So for the last 3 years, I've been on projects in New York City during UN week. It's the luck of the draw, and believe me, it sucks. All the traffic. So it's like an hour. So you got to end up leaving an hour earlier, and you plan on getting home an hour later. And that's just the way it is with those fools. So Donald Trump had a speech today over there. We're going to talk about, we got a lot of things to talk about. We might go over the 1 hour here on the Safety FM network. And just the way it is here with this. So let me start out by saying this. Let me get the Safety FM website here. Now, sometimes I have things planned out, and I say, not really, Let's see. So, here we have the Safety FM website, safetyfm.com. Right? I know you people on the podcast and radio are like, Well, when you get a chance, go to safetyfm.com. I never noticed that we have music.
Do you want to be a safety consultant? Listen to Dr. J. Allen of Safety FM.
So right here you can get the live feed from the radio station. Here, lower left-hand corner. And that's where you're going to find us here. I had to pre-record this a little bit. And when you go up here, you have Listen Now. Takes you right to the radio station.
For a special discount.
Right?
Now you can hear us around the world, streaming 24/7 at safetyfm.com.
What else do you have here? You have our show list. So let me zoom in on that. Show list. We have a whole selection of shows here for you. The Jay Allen Show, the Pre-Accident Investigation, the Safety Pro, the Rated R Safety Show. That's the, like, more or less what's the word I'm looking for? Flagship show. Then you have Truck Safe Live with Brandon Wiseman, a HOP podcast with no name, right? And that is right. Contact Andy and Matt on that one. The email, right? So Andy Baker and Matt Florio, right? On that. The Accidental Safety Pro. Right? The safety consultant. That is with Sheldon Primus, who has been a repeated guest here. I think we've had him on more than anybody. The safety of work. On there, right? And the practice of learning teams. Right. With that, with Brent Sutton, who's also been a guest on this show. And there, of course, me, Safety Wars. Where we did, what did you think about the construction outreach training thing last week? I got comments back on that. Basically, this is what check us out, safetyfm.com. I don't think, what's the word I look for? Jay Allen mentions it, safetyfm.com and all this other stuff. But, we have the opportunity here to share the screen with you. He's his gig is not always to share the screen with this stuff. This is his book. V as in Victor, Right, Consciousness, Construct, and the Reality of Risk. That deals with the recordability. So here, hold on. We have
some other healthcare professional has
from
recommended
him
some sort of work restriction.
Let me get this
The
up.
section states that the employer, and this is key, should ensure that the employee complies with the recommended restrictions. Should. Now that language.
Here you go.
What if everything we thought we knew about safety was just interference? From the host of the Rated R Safety Show.
Start that over.
What if everything we thought we knew about safety was just interference? From the host of the Rated R Safety Show and the founder of Safety FM comes the complete signal transmission trilogy, now available in one powerful edition. Safety, in my opinion, the book that started the conversation. Safety Mutation, where the boundaries of culture, systems, and belief begin to break. And now, Safety Transmission, the final piece of the signal. For the first time, all three books are together in one volume. The Signal Transmission Trilogy, Complete Edition. This isn't just about compliance. It's about consciousness. It's about decoding the way we think, lead, and live, inside and outside the system. Whether you've been following the signal since the beginning or you're just now tuning in, this is the version to own. Search Signal Trilogy on Amazon or visit safetyfm.com to get your copy now.
All right, now, we also have, Jay has been, promoting this. We have Signal Theory, a breakthrough virtual experience on September 30th, 2025 at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I guess it is. So a free virtual event for approximately 1 hour, right? Jay Allen is the speaker on that, but, there will be other people there, I'll be there. So if you want to see me and talk with me and everything, I'll be there. Probably, some of the other hosts I would expect to be there also. But let's remember something. You could contact me at 845-269-5772 here. Let me get that back. There is a QR code here. So if you want to check out the QR code on there, right, it's prominently, if you want to pause the video, and there it is. Right. You could see me and deal with me personally. 845-269-5772. We have our deal here, Ask the Safety Professional, where you rent me out for an hour and you get to ask me anything. And if I don't know the answer, I'll get you the answer. Don't rely on that ChatGPT, man. Don't rely on that other AI. No, Jay and I were talking recently about what I call the AI conspiracy. Is it giving us the right answers? Is it giving us the wrong answers? Isn't it giving us the wrong answers on purpose? Is it giving us answers that we want to hear? When it goes to what is commonly called general intelligence, what's going to happen? That's my question. Will it turn on us? Like in some sci-fi novel, like The Matrix, like many episodes of Star Trek, right? And like in Isaac Asimov, right? Novels, like in Mary Shelley, Modern Prometheus, also known as Frankenstein. All of those stuff. So that's, it's something that has to be, I don't want to say addressed, but something that has to be realized. There's a lot of danger. There's a lot of good stuff coming out of this. A lot of danger here. I don't know. It is what it is. So you could, find that on ViewStub, Google it. It'll come up, that event with Jay Allen here. And that's the way it is. Alrighty then. All right, let's go to the news. Now, you may have heard this. Because I couldn't sleep last night, I listened to Coast AM Live with George Norrie, our friends there. At Coast to Coast. Study finds. This is from Study Finds analysis reviewed by Steve Fink. Research led by Amanda Rebar, University of South Carolina. Here. And this is absolutely relevant to what we do. Here. So let's just go into the article. Research shows that 2/3 of your daily decisions aren't really decisions. What does that sound like to us? The Jens Rasmussen skills mode, right? In a nutshell, researchers found that nearly 90% of daily actions are performed automatically. About 2/3 of behaviors are triggered by habit rather than conscious choice. Habits often support intentions. Nearly half of actions are both habitual and intentional. Exercise is more often habitually triggered, but needs conscious guidance once started. That's like I gotta go and work out. I gotta hit the weights. I gotta run. I gotta hit the bike. I gotta, do my calisthenics. I gotta do my Reiki therapy, my meditation. I won't do it today. That's what that is. You wake up. You brush your teeth. To make coffee, check your phone, and drive to work. How much of the morning routine did you actually think about? According to new research, the answer might surprise you. Almost none of it. Scientists tracked 105 people for a week and discovered something remarkable about human behavior. Almost 9 out of 10 daily actions happen automatically without conscious thought. Now, I think everybody knows this, but this study here attempts to quantify this, which is, pretty important, where we're going to know why you're going to have to quantify it. So we can insert this into our human organizational performance lectures here. All right, the research and also that because that skills mode is the least error-prone one. The research conducted by behavioral scientists at universities in the U.S., Australia, and United Kingdom used real-time tracking to capture exactly how much of everyday life operates on autopilot. Participants received text prompts 6 times daily over 7 days, asking them to report what they were doing and how automatic versus deliberate their actions felt. So there's a little bit of qualitative bias. The research shows, by the way, yes, non-alcoholic beverage here, because that's how we roll here. Results show that 88% of daily behaviors are habitually executed, meaning people perform them around minimal conscious oversight. Meanwhile, 65% of behaviors are habitually instigated, triggered automatically by environmental cues rather than deliberate decision-making. People rarely stop to deliberate over which behavior to enact or how to do a behavior at any given time. The researchers write in their study published in Psychology and Health. Lead researcher Amanda Rebar, an associate professor at the University of South Carolina explains that the study distinguished between two types of automatic behavior. Habitual instigation occurs when environmental cues automatically trigger the decision to do something, like reaching for your phone when you hear a notification. Habitual execution happens when you perform an action smoothly without thinking about the mechanics, such as brushing your teeth or driving a familiar route. People like to think of themselves as rational decision makers, who think carefully about what they do before they do it. Revar explains in a statement, however, much of our repetitive behavior is undertaken with minimal forethought and is instead generated automatically by habit. So, adjusted for demographics and age and everything, no meaningful differences here. Right? Whether a person's behavior was generally habitual or aligned with intention did not vary as a function of demographics. And going on there, your brain likes to take shortcuts. That's how it was explained to me. Contrary to popular belief that habits conflict with our intentions, the study found that most automatic behaviors actually align with what people want to do. Nearly half, 46% of all behaviors are both habitual and intentional, while 17% were habitual but not aligned with intention. The researchers tracked 37 individual behavior moments across employment, domestic tasks, screen time, eating, transportation, and leisure activities. Screen time and work activities dominated daily behavior, accounting for roughly 40% of all reported actions. These findings can be helpful for anyone trying to change their behavior from breaking bad habits to building good ones. Since most behaviors already operate automatically, they may be redirecting existing habit patterns rather than fighting them entirely. Almost all behaviors can be supported by habit, which in turn suggests interventions can realistically seek to promote habit formation for any action. Right, let's read that again. Almost all behaviors can be supported by habit, which in turn suggests interventions can realistically seek to promote habit formation for any action. Rather than viewing habits as obstacles to overcome, this is what's important here for you hop people. The study suggests we should harness the brain's natural tendency towards automation. Right? The research team recommends that behavioral change programs incorporate strategies to encourage habit formation for new wanted behaviors while seeking to disrupt unwanted habits that may undermine change. Our research shows that while people may consciously want to do something, the actual initiation and performance of that behavior is often done without thinking, driven by non-conscious habits. This suggests that good habits may be a powerful way to make our goals a reality. Gene Foster, professional football player, former one from South Jersey, used to say that. Replace a bad habit with a good habit. For people who don't try to get rid of the bad habit, necessarily. For people who want to break their bad habits, simply telling them to try harder. Holy woof, no! That sounds familiar. To creating lasting change, we must incorporate strategies to help people recognize and disrupt their unwanted habits, ideally form positive new ones in their place. So realize that when you change a habit, your error rate's going to go up. That's the only thing I would caution on this. Right? I heard this from coast to coast. I said, man, I got to go and I need to check this out. So check it out over on studyfinds.org. Going back to, I can't share that, right? This is from the Epoch Times. Trump warns against globalist agendas in UN address and holds bilaterals. President said global migration and climate agendas are hurting Western societies and economies. This is by the Epoch Times staff, published today. Right? And the other things going on. Zelensky says Trump appears more aligned with the Ukraine following a meeting that they had. Trump called multilateral session most important meeting of the day. And going on and on. And by the way, the CCCP has allegedly, that's the Chinese Communist Party, has asked that the Epoch Times be banned from the UN. So much for a free press. And you can check out all the coverage there. Again, one of the big things that people are pissed off here, finally, after 30 years we've been working on this, more than that, 32 years of working on alerting people to the threat of globalism. Finally, people are waking up, I hope, with this, right? Let me make a correction there. Globalism, can't find. We have a global economy. Globalism, which is a move towards socialism, extreme socialism, communism, oligarchy, things of that nature, that we can do something about. So, this is from yesterday. Trump signs an order declaring Antifa a domestic terrorist organization. The president called the loosely organized group of militarist anarchist enterprise opposed to the U.S. government and law. President Donald Trump on September 22nd signed an order declaring Antifa domestic terror organization. Now let me, so because of that, they're legally allowed to do some other things with that. Do I have any experience with this? Yeah, I do. So, something that's gotten a little bit out of fashion in my time, well, let's talk about it in the last couple of years. That's the Community Emergency Response Team in Rockland County. It's not, and they have it, but it's not promoted as much. But when I went for the training for the CERT team, Community Emergency Response Team, which was very similar to the disaster site worker 8-hour refresher class, 7.5-hour class, and a 15-hour class, which we teach here, 845-269-5772. Basically, we taught about FEMA and how to prepare and what the county needed. But what do you think happened during all of those riots back in the late 2010s? Right before the pandemic. Pandemic pretty much screwed everything up. Still screwing things up. You had people who were there at the riots coming into the Community Emergency Response Team as, I don't even if they'll know if they made it through because the pandemic hit, right, that were basically Antifa activists coming in to learn emergency response techniques, emergency response protocols, and educating themselves on the government response to emergencies. Oh, yeah. Because we had to do a little intro. Hi, I'm Jim Polzel. Right? I didn't have Safety Wars then. Hi, I'm Jim Polzel. I do blah, 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 blah. I have my something. Oh, and it would be like the person next to me, and I'm just making this name up. Hi, my name is Sally. And, oh, yeah, I am, I'm just in from the, riots out in the Midwest. Oh, yeah, I'm planning on using this training to go and learn all about emergency response and how to protect my constituency and people, that, and we should, and I know get first aid. I'm interested in the first aid. I'm interested in crowd control. And everyone's looking at her like, why are you saying this? Maybe she was being because we are not. It's not unknown in northern New Jersey for the government to send people like this around as an agent provocateur to try to get people to do things that they wouldn't normally do and try to flush out people like that. I mean, we have the famous Hal Turner case from northern New Jersey here, and you could go and Google Hal Turner. Basically, he's a white supremacist who set up other white supremacists also. Haven't heard from him. He got banned from all platforms, but he would occasionally show up on local talk radio. Disguised his voice, but everybody, it's sort of like one of my mother's friends. She didn't, it bothered her, and I got to get a tripod for this thing. It bothered her that she was getting older. So what do you think she did? She would go places in disguise And very often my father and I would find her. She was like walking in, and this goes back, Caldor, right? Well, you can look up what Caldor was. And she comes walking through, it's like a Kmart. Anyway, she would come walking through. Hey, how you doing? Hey, she'd be like, now I got to talk to them. But she was always in disguise, and it was pretty funny. But they're, how many times did we see her and not realize it was hers was always the question. We often picked her out. But, where people go into these things, went into this community emergency response team to find out with this. This is why there's a lot of information we do not give out on this radio show and this podcast or video cast. Because why? It could be a problem here. Now, this was much ado about nothing. I said it at the beginning. I really didn't discuss this on the air at all, but privately on social media. Jimmy Kimmel's show to return to air. Right? According to Disney, Jimmy Kimmel Live was suspended after remarks Kimmel made during the assassination of Charlie Kirk. Now, what goes around comes around. Is basically what it comes down to. You start banning people. You start canceling people. You start using the government to do crap to people or threaten people or anything like that. It's going to come around to you. I believe the Bible says, sow the wind, reap the whirlwind. That's an old proverb. Karma will come back and get you. We can't, just because you don't like, regardless of your opinion of any of these commentators, on there. No, and also when it, when you come up with policies that got mass numbers of people fired, like during COVID and everything, eventually that's going to come back to bite you on the butt. And I think this is one of them here, where Jimmy Kimmel was celebrated, and there are clips where he's celebrating, for lack of a better word, I'll use that word, other people getting fired over stuff. And then here, and all the documentation was that he was being suspended, and the local distributors did not want him on the air. Well, lo and behold, he'll be on the air this week, according to Disney. So they just were waiting for things to blow over and people to calm down. The problem here, and what I'm hearing in the blogosphere, is this. Okay, he may not be on local affiliates, right? However, he'll be online. Now, regardless of what people say, the apps and everything else, people don't make as much. Right, so it's no secret. I help produce. I'm a producer on another podcast called The Delta Flyers, with Robert Duncan McNeil, Garrett Wong, Armin Shimmerman, and Terry Farrell are the hosts. Right, and the lineup has changed over the year, but it's basically been Robert Duncan McNeil and Garrett Wong, and they had suspended their normal commentary on programs. What we do is review Star Trek episodes. And one of the things that they brought out on there, they changed their formatting during the actors' strike, where they had a lot of people in Star Trek who happened to be leaders or former leaders in the SAG-AFTRA unions. And they had, they're still on the air. You can go and check those episodes out, explaining a lot of the politics, a lot of the background. It gave us context. So if you have a interest in that sort of thing, like I do that. And also, go and check them out. Also, I had a family member in SAG-AFTRA who, before he unfortunately passed away, was also on Star Trek. We had long conversations. And basically, the reason why all these new Star Trek things were being made by Paramount CBS was Like you had Star Trek Discovery, Strange New Worlds, Lower Decks, Picard, and I feel like I'm missing one there. We have also another Starfleet Academy coming out, and allegedly another animation there. Reason why they're doing a lot of that was that they were paid for ahead of time. All right, so they sold the licensing, they sold the distribution rights, and now they were working with other OPM, other people's money. They're able to fund all these stuff. That's not always true with these series. And the problem here is this: the actors and actresses are not getting paid as much. Well, what do you mean, Jim? They're not getting paid. They're on all these networks. So you see them with... No, they're not. Remember, with broadcast TV, you used to get 20 to 26 episodes, so it was like a summer release. That's what you get on broadcast TV. These actors and actresses, they be going for 26 weeks a year, maybe 30 weeks a year, collecting a paycheck. Then they're off to promote the show, and they have to promote the show. Depends on how the contracts are, but generally speaking, promote the show, do this, do that, blah, 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 on their off time. Maybe work on other projects. Guess what? Every one of those Star Trek series now on Paramount Plus is 10 episodes. Now, there is a trade-off. The trade-off is here. You go back to, and I'm not going to sit here and insult people because, with this, and that's not what it is. It's fact. You look back at those 60s sci-fi movies, inside and outside Star Trek. You have Lost in Space. You have all these other things. And you laugh at the special effects and the acting and everything else. And some of them were not written well. Big plot holes and everything else. And then, and even going into the 80s, right, with a lot of the shows and everything, you can see maybe the most well-produced show in 1978 was Battlestar Galactica. And then Buck Rogers in the 24th Century with Jill Gerard for 2 seasons. All of these things, they got a little bit better produced, but, still it was not good. Check out the episodes for sci-fi shows and shows that are heavily dependent on special effects or CGI. These shows are shot phenomenally. These are beautifully, just from the perspective of aesthetics. These things are beautiful. The cinematography, wonderful how these things are shot. But anyway, what's my point? My point here is that the economics have changed. There's not a lot of money left in here. And with a 10-episode season, a lot of these times they can't get out of their contracts. So they're waiting around, especially with the pandemic and the strike. A lot of these series, like The Handmaid's Tale, what was it, like 9 years to get through? Star Trek Discovery, we got, 6 years, 7 years, and you only made 60 episodes? Not making a lot of money there. And that's one of the reasons why they had the actors strike to negotiate better things. But if you think that, Jimmy Kimmel not making money on broadcast TV here, right? When you look at the ad time, the ads and the viewership and everything, look at how many people you have watching here. I'm sure I'm stealing listeners from Jimmy Kimmel and other shows, but I digress here with this. Okay. Okay. This is from updates from NASA. This is from TJ Mascaro, the Epoch Times, from Houston, Texas. One of the first Americans to set foot on Mars may have made his or her debut as an astronaut candidate on September 22nd. That's yesterday, according to Sean Duffy, who is the acting administrator of NASA. He's also the Secretary of Transportation. The acting administrator of NASA revealed that possibility as he took part in an unveiling ceremony in the 24th and latest class of what NASA called All-American Astronaut Candidates. One of these 10 could actually be the first Americans to put their boots on the Mars surface. 4 men and 6 women were chosen from a pool of 8,000 applicants. Their background varied from test pilot to anesthesiologist. Does that mean they're going to knock people out on the way there and put them into some type of stasis? Maybe. I don't know. But according to Duffy, they all exemplified American excellence and the American dream. He codified earlier remarks that these men and women would further America's golden age of exploration. I missed all of those landings, but, everybody wanted to be an astronaut still in the 70s. So good for them. Congratulations. And again, we're made to explore. I know people say, well, we should take care of the Earth. Okay, very good. Yes, we should take care of the Earth. Solve all of our problems here, but we're made to explore, to go out. Seek strange new worlds, right? To follow a line. Or as my daughter and I like to say, safety, the final frontier. Oh, wrong one. Let's try that again. Safety, the final frontier.
Safety Wars is streaming now.
SafetyFM.com.
In an unpredictable world, one voice rises above the chaos. Meet Jim Polzo, a seasoned safety expert who's navigated through some of the most dangerous scenarios, from anthrax, explosive cleanups, disasters, and numerous environmental cleanups, and lived to tell the tale. Now he's bringing his wealth of knowledge, insights, and experiences to you through Safety Wars. From workplace hazards to the hidden dangers in your own home, Jim covers it all with his engaging storytelling. Safety Wars isn't just a podcast, it's your guide to a safer world. Join Jim Polzo and become part of the Safety Wars revolution. Available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, and wherever you get your podcasts and videos. Safety Wars. Your safety is our mission.
Is your safety training old, stale, and hackneyed? Is your safety trainer still preaching a warped version of behavior-based safety? How about safety training that is designed to actually address and assess your hazards and liabilities and is not standardized baloney from generations ago? Contact the Safety Wars team at safetywars.com or call me, Jim Polzo, at 845-269-5772. Remember, if you are receiving this message, you are the solution to unsafe workplaces. Let's hear from Jeff. OSHA recordables, catastrophic losses, environmental disasters. You want answers? So do I. This is Jim Polzel with Safety Wars.
That's my daddy!
So anyway, here we go. Here and...
You are listening to Safety Wars. Tomorrow's Safety Today.
Alright, Secret Service agents dismantle network that could shut down New York's cell phone system. This is near and dear to me. So during 9/11, that's September 11, 2001, no cell phone service. During a lot of major storms, no cell phone service, no communication. So what's the question? What do you do? Again, this is Disaster Preparedness Month. What do? You have to have a plan on how to communicate, and you have to have plans so you get into that skills mode or that habitual mode that we were talking about earlier today with that. So Secret Service agents dismantle a network that could shut down New York's cell phone system. Agents discovered electronic devices in 5 locations in and around the city that could be used to disable cell phone towers. The system could also be used for criminal activities. This is from NBC News, just broke before the program here. Secret Service agents have dismantled a network of electronic devices at multiple locations around New York City that can be easily used to disable the city's cell phone network. Officials said Tuesday. They say the system was also used to anonymously convey assassination threats against senior U.S. officials and for criminal activities. That's probably why the Secret Service was on the case. In 5 locations within 35 miles of New York, that could be Rockland County, where I'm from, Secret Service agents discovered more than 300 co-located SIM servers and 100,000 SIM cards. They said the system could be used for criminal activity and that 80 grams of coke, not Coca-Cola, the other stuff, illegal firearms, computers, and cell phones were also found. These devices right? And this is from Matt McCool, the head of the Secret Service in New York. These devices allowed anonymous, encrypted communications between potential threat actors and criminal enterprises, enabling criminal organizations to operate undetected. This network had the potential to disable cell phone towers and essentially shut down the cellular network in New York City. Again, how are you going to do this? My opinion is that everybody can have the ability to go low tech. Right? So I keep on saying I'm going to do it, but I never have time to get a ham radio license. Get 2 or 3 people with ham radio licenses. Set up a plan, a communications plan. Hey, if there's an emergency, this is what I need you to do. Go here, go there, go here, what have you. I mean, back when we had, at the beginning of this whole thing, meaning the internet, a lot of people had a problem with email. So they would go and they would ask for people's home addresses. Now that, people like have security issues, me being one of them, if you're out, I can tell you what, if you're doing anything online, right, there could be security issues out there. There with that. Weirdos out there. You know how it is. With that, so, again, what did people use? They use all different things, They were getting, like, people's email, snail mail addresses so they could keep in contact in case the grid came down. That was after 9/11. I don't think people are doing that, like I said, for security reasons. But... So what did Mr. McCool end up saying? This is an ongoing investigation, but there's absolutely no reason to believe we won't find more of these devices in other cities. And if I could point out, we had the Metcalf Road situation, I believe it was in 2010, where somebody took a 50 caliber round to the where I worked on a project on Metcalf Road in San Jose, California, southern San Jose, California, over by Morgan. All right. So, and text message. Sorry about that. And of course, all right. Some other war news here. UK and Poland. This is all heating up. Again, with the cyber attack, and we also have the issues with the... sorry about the interruption. The cyber attack, I should have hit something on there. With the cyber attack, they're thwarted. Well, I think it's pretty obvious, or I don't have to say we're not in control personally of these things. We have governments, and some of these governments are not good actors, and I don't exactly know what the hell they're doing here. Why? Come on, peace, de-escalation. Here we have this from theguardian.com. UK and Poland vow to confront Russian aircraft violating NATO airspace. Russia shrugs off criticism as Poland and Estonia speak about incursions at emergency meeting of the UN Security Council. European allies have vowed to shoot down any Russian aircraft violating their airspace after NATO members... No, nobody can freaking spell anymore. Accused Moscow of repeated incursions into the alliance's territory in recent weeks. If another missile... and this is from... Radoslaw Sikorski, Poland's foreign minister. If another missile aircraft enters our space without permission, deliberately or by mistake, and gets shot down, and the wreckage falls on NATO territory, please do not come here to whine about it. His warning was echoed by Poland's Prime Minister Donald Tusk, who told reporters earlier in the day, I want to be very clear. We will make a decision to shoot down flying objects without discussion when they violate our territory and fly over Poland. On Friday, Estonia reported that 3 Russian MiG-31 jets had crossed into its airspace for 12 minutes before being forced to withdraw. The incident followed the entry of 20 Russian drones into Polish skies earlier this month, which a NATO fighter shot down, and a separate Russian drone incursion into Romania. How do we know that they're really Russian drones? That's my question. and not some kind of false flag here. Here's another one, a preparation for war. Germany prepares for 1,000 injured soldiers a day in war with Russia. This is from metro.co.uk. As many as 1,000 German soldiers are set to be wounded every day if Vladimir Putin launches war on NATO. I don't think he wants to do that, right? I don't know. Why are they doing this? Okay, here's another conspiracy. All right, we had the AI conspiracy. Here's another one. Are they printing all this stuff? Because and everything, are they... What's going on in 7 days in the United States? Go ahead, think about it. What's going on in 7 days? We'll give you a minute to think about it. So today is September 23rd. And in 1 week, it will be September 30th. And then October 1st comes. And what happens on October 1st? Not only is it two of my personal heroes' birthdays, Zdzisław Gabryszewski, rest in peace, he died early this year, and another great Pole, Uncle Ziggy Kamiński. Yeah, well, that's not the answer I'm looking for. It is called budget time, right? And they're out there looking for, what are they looking for? Money. Now, my question is this, the end of the fiscal year being the end of the year, isn't it like a perfect time to say we need more money for defense? They do it all, they did it for years with the environmental stuff. Every time the NASA's budget was threatened to be cut, it was being negotiated, or something else, or the EPA's, we need more money for climate change research. We need more money to study the ozone hole. We need all more, and might have been legitimate uses of the money, but every time budget time comes around, shit like this happens. My question is, and I think it's a legitimate question, is this because a budget is coming up? Oh, well, yeah, we're preparing. Send us more money. Do we have a deal made with these NATO countries to now buy American weapons? Because we're the biggest supplier over there, my understanding, or at least a huge portion. Are we going... Now, the other thing that happened, very short-sighted, a lot of the smelters for lead are not there anymore. They were regulated out of existence in the early 2010s. My question is this. Will we start manufacturing more ammunition? Because we started to have an ammunition shortage here in 2010, either for the sportsmen, the hobbyists, the police, and now the military, because we sent everything over to Ukraine. A lot of stuff. Do we have enough stuff to fight the wars? Is it, I don't know, to fight any of these battles? Because I tell you what, if they don't have the small arms, what do you think they're going to go to? They're going to go nuclear with this stuff. Here we have from the Jerusalem Post article. I don't know who wrote this. It's from Reuters. Russia and Iran will this week sign agreements on the construction of new nuclear power units in Iran. Russia's state agency RIA quoted Iran's nuclear chief as saying, Mohammad Eslami, who's also Iran's vice president, was speaking during a visit to Moscow. Western governments accused Tehran of failing to abide by a 2015 deal with world powers that aimed to prevent it from developing a nuclear weapon. Iran denies having any such intention, and Russia says it supports Tehran's right to a peaceful nuclear energy. You know? It is what it is here. Right? Again, we have no... Prepare. That's what this is. Here's another one. U.S. fans Iranian diplomats at the UN from Costco and luxury shopping. So apparently they come over here for 1 week in September and they clean out Costco. Maybe that's why all the, I've noticed this when I go to Costco is one of the stores I go to. BJ's is the other one. They're all cleaned out. I'm thinking, man, it must be the resale market in Brooklyn. doing this, where people come into New Jersey and in southern New York, they clean out the BJ's and Costco and sell everything on the street or illegally in stores in Brooklyn and in New York City, Brooklyn, Queens, and New York City. I mean, yeah, that does happen, right? The White House has banned Iranians in New York for the high-level unit, but apparently in September it's all going to Iran. So, they buy it cheap here and send it over there. Okay. Trump expands unauthorized. What time are we on? 50 minutes after the hour. Trump extends unauthorized use of lethal military force in the Caribbean. President is upping the ante. Published a piece earlier this week on President Trump's undeclared war. This is from Andrew McCarthy in National Review, who I met back in the day, several times. In addition, I note that the Constitution vests are going on and on. So anyway, they're upping the ante there. You could check out him. And here's another one with workplace. Big companies from Microsoft to Paramount and NBC Universal are ordering workers to show up to the office more often. If only their staffs would heed the call. I tell you what, a lot of organizations never went back to the office. Their business model changed. One, then they have a skeleton crew now. A couple of organizations I know of, they set up house in like Washington, D.C., and they found out it's cheaper to get almost like one of those single office spaces with like a mailbox. They have like 5 or 6 desks. That was cheaper than having a 3-story building up nowhere in the middle, up in a major metropolitan area. It was cheaper. And the other thing is this. Now, I know one organization did it in Washington, D.C. I know another organization that did it in Houston, right? It was cheaper to do that. And or Orlando for tax reasons. And now, the other thing is, now you can hire somebody to do, we'll just say, New York City type of work, or they were doing work in New York City, right? Spending all different kinds of money on staff and everything. Now we can have somebody in a much lower income area in the Midwest or Deep South do the same job for half the price. Oh, yeah. Don't think that that's not in their business models. Well, you're living here, so therefore I don't have to pay you as much. Okay, what else do we got here? We're at 53 minutes. We're going to cut this off at 55. So here you go. And I know I hesitate to give this story because it's, people want to go there, especially men, all right? 12 small, and this is from metro.co.uk. I live in a woman-only commune, and there is no men and no drama. Story by Eleanor Noyes. All right, Noyes, I believe it's pronounced. I know New Jersey is Noyes. Elsewhere is probably Noyes. 12 small homes sit upon the acres of a manicured lawn in Texas. In the Texas countryside, under the warm sun, the residents that call this gated community home live a rather idyllic life. There's a fire pit, a fit pit. I think they meant fire pit. Yoga, book club, and swimming pool. It's peaceful and supportive, and for those that want to live here, and there are 2 simple rules: no men and no drama. The Bird's Nest is a 5-acre women-only commune, and the brainchild of 70-year-old Robin Urin, who basically she found out that she could not. I'll summarize the article here. She found out she didn't have a lot of money for retirement, so she decided to do this, and this was her retirement plan. But it was meant to be anyone aged 55 and over, but eventually became just for women. So, I mean, if you're a guy, you want to, go there, and maybe you'll be lucky at love. There you have a high, and I jest here, right? You have a high probability there's all women here. So I don't know. I don't. Do they do things with women? I don't know. No. I mean, we do have love in the safety zone, right? Do I have that on here? No, I don't. So who knows? Anyway, for Safety Wars. This is Jim Polzel. We're just going to cut it out right here. And I will, God willing, see you tomorrow. And there's our American flag. And if we run short here, we're going to throw on some AI music.
The views and opinions expressed on this podcast are those of the host and its guest and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of the company. Examples of analysis discussed within this podcast are only examples. They should not be utilized in the real world as the only solution available, as they are based only on very limited and dated open source information. Assumptions made within this analysis are not reflective of the position of the company. No part of this podcast may be reproduced, stored in a retrieval system, or transmitted in any form or by any means, mechanical, electronic, recording, or otherwise, without prior written permission of the creator of the podcast, Jay Allen.
Come and listen to a story about a man named Jim. Safety's his game and the odds were looking grim. Workplace hazards everywhere, from ladders to machines. He took on the mission to make those places clean.
Safety, that is. PPE. OSHA rules.
Well, next thing you know, old Jim's in high demand, teaching folks safety from the mines to the land. Said we gotta keep them safe, make sure they know the score about hazards and the dangers that they just can't ignore.
Training, that is. Inspections. Safety plans.
So now they call him up. Safety Wars is here to stay. Fighting the good fight, keeping dangers at bay. Tune in and learn with Jim. He's got the safety know-how. 'Cause Safety Wars is on and we're starting right now.
Safety Wars, that is. Set a spell. Take your time. Stay safe now, you hear?